Constantly treading on deep waters financially is not the ideal way one should be living life. But for most people, that seems to be the case in regards to debt. And the most common belief is that when you're drowning in debt, that's it for you. There's no escape, which has some truth to a certain extent. In fact, the United States has embodied that title, with US consumers totaling $15 trillion, bringing the average household debt over $5,300. And the GDP of the United States is a little over $21 trillion, meaning debt is a huge factor in the US economy. But contrary to popular belief, it's not always that bad. You might be thinking, how? With all the debt I have to pay from student loans to housing or car loans plus interest, it might take years to pay off. How can there be a light at the end of the tunnel for debt? To understand how powerful of a tool debt can be, let's take a look at how the 1% utilizes debt to make even more money. You might be confused as of now because why would a rich person use debt in the first place when debt is usually used by people who don't have any money? That's not how capitalism works. If you know how to use it, debt can be a powerful tool. So, in this video, we'll be sharing with you the secrets on how rich people use debt to make even more money. Hi, and welcome to Business Reactor, where we will be showing you the latest tips and tricks in the financial space as well as business and entrepreneurship. If you want success in your life and business, then you came to the right place because in this channel, we help you in getting ready for success. For more latest success tips from our videos, subscribe to our channel and click on that notification bell button. Let's get right into it. Number one, most of the trade is based on debt. It might sound a bit controversial because it's not usually wise to loan money in order to start a business. But there are businesses, most of all traditional businesses, where the best option for capital would be using debt. Let's say you want to sell shoes. It's a pretty common product and there's always a demand. Back then, you would research for a supplier in China, find a factory that will produce the product you want at the right price. You would then buy the product in bulk, have it shipped to the US, and then distribute them to your clients. But nowadays, that's mostly done online through websites like Alibaba or AliExpress, unless it's a more complicated product where you'd have to fly to the factory. And actually, you don't really have to pay for the products to have the product. Let me illustrate. In the past 50 years, China has become the ultimate factory of the world, producing thousands of factories that work nonstop to produce everything the world needs. For easier selling, most of these factories would gladly loan you their products. Then you pay them back in the future. You'll have to build some kind of trust with them first, since they don't just lend out to strangers. But that's how businesses have been running for the past 50 years. Once the client sells the product anywhere in the world, he will then pay the factory and borrow more products. In doing this, you're basically letting the factory know that you know how to market and sell the product. If you can sell it for anything above the certain price the product originally costs, that's going to be your profit. What makes this strategy great is that you're not investing your own money in this transaction for production. That's why selling is one of the greatest skills you can ever master. Number two, refinancing. Real estate debts is the best kind of debt because of all of the loopholes in it. If you don't have a mortgage, then you're paying extra taxes. Rich people always have multiple mortgages to be able to get all of those deductions. Keep in mind, every dollar that you need to pay in taxes but save instead is an extra dollar earned. So that's another way that people can earn more. But I want to show you a more practical method. This is basically how the 1% get rich in real estate. Let's say you save $200,000. That's a lot of money. But if we're going to be honest, that's nothing. You can't even buy a house. Of course, you can get a mortgage up to $800,000 since you have to make a 20% down payment. But here's the method. Let's say you find a property that costs $500,000. It's in a bad condition and needs renovations. So you go to the bank and apply for a mortgage by making a 20% down payment. And then you're going to spend around 10% of the total cost of the house again to renovate it, around $50,000. So you run to the bank again. but this time to refinance your mortgage. When you got your first mortgage, the value of the property was just $500,000 because it was in bad shape and no one wanted to live there. But since the renovations, people now want to rent it out. So the market value of the property, let's say, rises to $700,000. Like the first time, let's say you're gonna get an 80% mortgage, but 80% out of 700,000 is $560,000. $400,000 of that money is going to go to your first bank that gave you the first mortgage. And what if we deduct another $50,000 that you spent on renovation? You're going to be left with an extra profit of $110,000. Congrats! You just made $110,000 using debt that you're left with a property that you can rent out to build equity and generate passive income. And what's better is that you will avoid paying taxes because you have a mortgage. This is common practice among real estate investors. After hearing all that, I hope you're finding the video interesting so far. If you do, don't forget to leave a like and comment down below your thoughts. We'd love to hear them. Number 3, hedge funds. Hedge funds are made by the 1% for the rich and make the 1% even richer using unpopular methods. Mortal people like you and me, we make our best efforts to predict which companies are going to grow and rise in value and invest our hard earned money hoping it was the right investment to make. But hedge funds often use a complete opposite strategy. They try to make money when a company's stock dips or goes bankrupt, as it was with the case of GameStop. Although in that case, the internet challenged hedge funds and pushed them to lose over $13 billion. But what role does debt play making money with hedge funds? Let's say you expect a certain stock to decline like Facebook or Instagram does with online activity and gives priority to your privacy, which will greatly damage Facebook's business model. So you pick up your phone and call your broker to borrow a single Facebook stock that costs maybe, let's say, $100 and sell it instantly for $100 in the open market. Nice, you have $100 in your pocket. However, you owe your broker one Facebook stock. Let's say you're right. In the next few weeks, Facebook stock price drops to $70. You then use that $100 to buy one Facebook stock for $70 since the price dropped and return it to your broker and pocket the difference. That's great. You just made $30 out of a falling stock. Simple in theory, but super risky in practice. Because what happens if you're wrong and the price doubles overnight? You would still need to return that single Facebook stock to your broker and this time pay interest for loaning. Unfortunately, you have to buy that stock back for $200 to return it to your broker. When you buy a stock and try to sell it when it rises, the maximum that you can lose is the amount you invested in. But that's not the case if the price keeps rising. If the price keeps rising, your losses keep rising. Theoretically, you can make unlimited losses since theoretically the stock price can rise indefinitely. But if you have 100 analysts working for you, you can make a fortune using the strategy. Number 4, Forex. Forex or foreign exchange is a market where currencies are traded. It makes international trade a possibility. You can't exactly use the US dollar in China. You'd need to purchase Chinese yuan to pay your employee. So, there is a market where anyone or any company can come in and purchase foreign currencies. Now, based on different factors, these currencies fluctuate. For example, the Fed raises interest rates that will limit the supply of the dollar in the market and make US dollars stronger against other currencies or vice versa. Predicting which currencies will rise or fall, making a lot of money through Forex can be in the future for you. But what makes these markets so different from the rest is that for every dollar you use to trade in Forex, you can borrow an additional $100. Meaning, if you trade using your $1,000, you can hold a position worth $100,000. Plus, if you end up making a small profit like the 1% does, it will be crazy big. Number 5, credit score. Credit score is a powerful tool. Every successful business, company, or entrepreneur uses that in so many ways, most especially if you have a proven business model. Borrowing money to finance purchase orders is practiced pretty much by every business, so it's time to demolish the belief that all debt is bad. But of course, we can't forget that debt with high interest rates, such as credit card debt, is not the best. But in order to get lower interest rate, you'll have to minimize the risks of owning your money. And how do we do this? By building a track record of being a reliable borrower. There are billions, if not trillions, of dollars in banks just waiting for someone to borrow them. And even if there isn't any money, banks can actually create money out of thin air, as we'll explain in another video. And that's it for today. If you're new to this channel, don't forget to subscribe and turn on your notifications for up to date videos on new trends and tips in the financial space, as well as business and entrepreneurship. Also, do leave a comment below if you have any thoughts and give a press on that like button. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.